A single father to job's one impossible battle. Ethan Cole made a choice that Christmas night. The wrong choice. Or maybe the right one. He still doesn't know. 3 days. That's all he had left before a judge would decide if he deserved to keep his daughter. 3 days before the state could rip Alice from his arms and hand her over to a woman who'd already abandoned her. Once. 3 days to somehow prove that love mattered more than the zeros in a bank account. But right now, none of that mattered. Right now, he was just trying to get home. After running to jobs back-to-back 14 hours under car hoods and serving coffee to people who looked right through him, Ethan could barely keep his eyes open. The storm hit hard that Christmas night, rain hammering his windshield like bullets, lightning cracking the sky wide open. He just wanted to see Alice, hold her, remind himself why he was killing himself day after day. Then he saw them. Twin girls standing in the rain beside a car that cost more than he'd make in 5 years. Stranded, scared, waving for help. He should have kept driving. God knows he had enough problems of his own. But something in their faces, that helpless, desperate look, it reminded him of Alice, of being abandoned when you need someone most. So he stopped. What he didn't know, what he couldn't have known, was that those twin girls had a father, a powerful father, a father who would walk into a courtroom in 72 hours, sit behind a bench, and hold Ethan's entire world in his hands. Sometimes the people you save are the ones who end up saving you, and sometimes one act of kindness becomes the only thing standing between you and losing everything. Before we continue, let us know in the comment section where in the world you're tuning in from. We love seeing how far our stories reach. And if this story speaks to you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Ethan pulled over, his tires splashing through puddles as he came to a stop behind the luxury sedan. The rain was relentless, turning the world into a blur of grey and black. He sat there for a moment, engine running, watching the two figures huddled together under the slim shelter of their car's open door. "What are you doing, Ethan? You don't have time for this." But he was already unbuckling his seat belt. He stepped out into the storm, rain immediately soaking through his work shirt. The twin girls looked up as he approached. Identical faces, maybe 19 or 20, dressed in clothes that probably cost more than his rent. Their mascara ran in, dark streaks down their cheeks. "Car trouble," Ethan called over the thunder. The one on the left nodded, shivering. "It just died. We've been here for almost an hour. Our phones are dead and no one stopped. Until you," the other one added, her voice small and grateful. Ethan glanced at the car. A Mercedes, sleek and black, the kind of vehicle he only saw when wealthy clients brought them into the garage. He walked around to the hood. "Mind if I take a look?" "Please," they said in unison. He popped the hood, rain pouring down his face as he examined the engine. It didn't take long to spot the problem. Corroded battery terminals, loose connection. Simple fix, but not something they could handle out here in the storm. "Your battery's shot," he said, closing the hood. "You're not going anywhere tonight. Not without a jump or a tow." The girls exchanged worried glances. "We can call our father," one of them said. But her voice lacked conviction. "He's probably busy, though." "He's always busy." Something in the way she said it made Ethan pause. He recognized that tone, disappointment wrapped in acceptance. "Look," he said, "I can give you a ride. There's a hotel about 15 minutes from here. You can call a tow in the morning." "You do that?" the girl on the right asked, genuine surprise in her eyes. Ethan shrugged. "Can't leave you out here. Come on." They grabbed their bags and climbed into his beat-up Honda car that probably looked like a joke, next to their Mercedes. But neither of them complained. They just looked relieved. "I'm Sophie," the one in the passenger seat said as Ethan pulled back onto the highway. "This is my sister, Maya." Ethan, he replied, focusing on the road. The wipers could barely keep up with the rain. Thank you for stopping, Maya said from the back seat. Really, most people just. They see us and they keep going. People are scared these days, Ethan said. Can't blame them. But you stopped, Sophie pointed out. Ethan was quiet for a moment. I have a daughter. She's 6. If she was ever stranded somewhere, scared in the rain, I'd hope someone would stop for her. The car fell silent except for the drumming of rain on the roof. What's her name? Maya asked softly. Alice. That's beautiful, Sophie said. Then, hesitantly, do you get to see her often? Ethan's jaw tightened. The question hit harder than she could have known. Every chance I get? Which might not be for much longer. He hadn't meant to say that. It just slipped out. The weight he'd been carrying finally finding a crack to escape through. What do you mean? Maya asked. Ethan gripped the steering wheel tighter. Her mother and we're divorced. She's trying to take full custody. Says I'm not fit to be a father because I work too much, don't make enough money. We go to court in 3 days. That's horrible, Sophie whispered. It is what it is, Ethan said, though his voice betrayed him. I'm doing everything I can. To jobs, saving every penny, showing up to every school event. But sometimes it feels like it's not enough. Like the world's already decided I'm not good enough. Maya leaned forward between the seats. Our father's like that, always working. We barely see him. He has all the money in the world. But we de-trade it all just to have dinner with him once a week without him checking his phone. He thinks providing means everything, Sophie added quietly. He doesn't understand that we just want him there. Present. That's all. Ethan glanced at her. You should tell him that. We've tried, Maya said. He doesn't listen. Says we don't understand what it takes to maintain our lifestyle. Sounds lonely, Ethan said. It is, Sophie admitted. Money doesn't fix loneliness. It just makes it more comfortable. They drove in silence for a while, rain pounding the car, lightning occasionally illuminating the dark highway. Ethan thought about Alice, about the custody hearing, about how he was fighting so hard to keep her while these girls were fighting just to be seen by their father. You seem like a good dad, Maya said eventually. The kind who stops in a storm. The kind who shows up. Ethan's throat tightened. I'm trying to be. That's more than most people do, Sophie said. He pulled into the hotel parking lot 20 minutes later. The girls gathered their things and Sophie turned to him before getting out. Thank you, Ethan. Really. You didn't have to help us, but you did. She paused. I hope the judge sees what we see. That you're exactly the kind of father your daughter needs. Me too, Ethan said quietly. They disappeared into the hotel lobby, and Ethan sat there for a moment, rain still hammering his windshield. 3 days. He had 3 days to prepare for the fight of his life. He drove home through the storm, his mind racing. When he finally pulled into his apartment complex, it was past midnight. He climbed the stairs to his second-floor unit, exhausted down to his bones. Inside, Alice was asleep on the couch, a blanket pulled up to her chin. Mrs. Rachel from next door sat in the armchair, reading a magazine. She tried to wait up for you, Mrs. Rachel whispered, standing, but she couldn't make it. Thank you for watching her, Ethan said, pulling out the $20 he'd set aside for her. It was money he couldn't afford to spend, but he had no choice. Mrs. Rachel waved it away. Keep it. You need it more than I do. After she left, Ethan knelt beside the couch, brushing Alice's hair from her face. She stirred, eyes fluttering open. Daddy. Hey, sweetheart. I'm home. I missed you, she mumbled, still half asleep. I missed you too, baby. He kissed her forehead. Go back to sleep. But she sat up instead, rubbing her eyes. Daddy, Are we going to be okay? The question gutted him. She was 6 years old. She shouldn't have to worry about things like this. We're going to be fine. He lied, pulling her into a hug. Mommy says I might have to live with her, that you can't take care of me. Her voice was so small, so scared. Ethan held her tighter. Your mommy's wrong, Alice. I can take care of you. I will take care of you, no matter what happens in that courtroom. I'm your dad, and I love you more than anything in this world. I don't want to leave you, she whispered into his shoulder. You won't. I promise. It was a promise he had no idea if he could keep. But as he held his daughter in his small, shabby apartment, rain still pounding against the windows, Ethan Cole made a vow to himself. He would fight with everything he had, for her, always for her. 3 days until the courtroom. 3 days until his entire world would be decided by a stranger in a black robe. 3 days until he'd face Judge Benjamin Whitmore. He just didn't know it yet. The next morning, Ethan woke to the soft sound of Christmas carols drifting from the neighbor's apartment. Alice was still asleep, curled under her blanket. He stretched, feeling every ache from yesterday, and thought about the twins. Sophie and Maya, their lives so different, yet their pain so similar to his own. He got dressed, trying to shake off the exhaustion, and grabbed a cup of coffee. His mind drifted back to the night on the highway. The rain, the slick asphalt, and the way Sophie's eyes met his as he helped them. There had been something in that look, something unspoken, almost electric. A connection that went beyond gratitude. But he shook his head, pushing the thought away. He had Alice to think about. Yet, as he walked to the kitchen to prepare breakfast, he couldn't help but replay their voices, soft, hesitant, tinged with vulnerability. That night, their small touches, brushing past each other in the cramped car, had felt charged. Not inappropriate, not overt, but there was tension. A spark that lingered in his chest, impossible to ignore. Alice stirred, rubbing her eyes. Daddy, did it snow? She asked, her small voice sleepy and sweet. Not yet, baby, he replied, scooping her up and spinning her lightly in his arms. She giggled, and for a moment the exhaustion left him. Her laughter was his escape, a reminder that his fight wasn't just about survival, it was about love. After breakfast, Ethan decided to drive to the garage. He had to earn every penny, and Christmas was never kind to someone in his shoes. But even as he worked under the hoods of luxury cars, his thoughts wandered. He imagined Sophie's soft voice, Maya's shy smile, the warmth of the hotel lobby when he dropped them off, the way that gratitude had felt like a touch he could still feel lingering on his skin. By midday, he received a call. Unknown number. He hesitated before answering. Mr. Cole. The voice was polite, calm. This is Benjamin Whitmore. Ethan froze. The judge. I'm calling about an invitation, the voice continued, smooth and deliberate. My daughters, Sophie and Maya, would like to properly thank you. Dinner this Saturday, if you're available. Ethan's chest tightened. Yes, we'll be there, he said, swallowing. That's wonderful. They'll send the address and time. The line went dead, leaving him staring at the steering wheel. Dinner with the twins. The thought made his heart pound. Not only would he see them again, but he would also meet their father, the powerful man who, unknowingly, had crossed paths with him on the rain-soaked highway. The possibilities were dizzying. Saturday arrived faster than he expected. He borrowed a tie from Mrs. Rachel next door and made sure Alice wore her favorite yellow dress. Covered in sunflowers, the car ride was quiet but tense. Alice, sensing something special was about to happen. Sophie and Maya greeted them at the door, bright smiles illuminating the grand foyer. Their father, Benjamin Whitmore, appeared behind them, casual in jeans and a sweater, but with the same commanding presence he had in the courtroom. Ethan felt a full respect, awe, and something deeper, something magnetic that stirred in his chest. Dinner was lively, filled with laughter, teasing, and stories. Ethan watched Alice slowly come out of her shell, racing around with the twins in the game room. The way Sophie glanced at him across the room, a soft smile tugging at her lips, sent a flutter through his stomach. Later, as the adults gathered on the back patio, Ethan felt the warmth of the fire pit brushing against his skin, the crisp night air mingling with the scent of pine and Christmas cookies from inside. The city stretched below, twinkling like stars. Benjamin leaned against the railing, glancing at Ethan with a subtle intensity. "My daughters told me about you," he said, "about how you stopped for them in the storm." Ethan shrugged, trying to seem casual. "I did what anyone would do." "No," Benjamin said, voice low. "Not everyone stops. Not everyone risks themselves. For strangers, when they're already so exhausted." His eyes held Ethan's, piercing, evaluating. There was admiration there, yes, but also something more, an unspoken tension, a shared understanding of what sacrifice truly meant. Ethan's pulse quickened. He realized he wasn't just feeling gratefulness or respect. There was an electric pull, an attraction he hadn't expected. Benjamin's hand brushed briefly against his as they exchanged a plate of food, of fleeting touch. Yet it lingered in Ethan's mind, heat spreading across his chest. The night deepened. Inside, the girls played cards, laughter ringing. Outside, the air thickened between the two fathers. Words were scarce, but glances lingered longer than necessary. Ethan felt a thrill, a nervous energy, a sensual tension wrapped in the intimacy of shared responsibility and respect. Benjamin leaned closer. "You fight for what matters," he murmured, almost a whisper. "I see that in you, in the way you look at Alice, the way you care for her." Ethan's breath caught, the nearness, the voice low and deliberate. It stirred something primal, something he hadn't felt in years. I do what I have to," he said, voice steady but heart racing. Benjamin smiled faintly, and the tension shifted, charged yet respectful. It was a quiet acknowledgement of the bond forming not just as fathers, but as men who understood sacrifice, love, and desire in ways few could. They returned inside, and Ethan felt a surge of protectiveness and longing, complicated by the electric charge that had passed between them on the patio. The girls called for help with the card game, and Ethan leaned back, letting the warmth of the house envelop him, heart still hammering. Alice crawled onto his lap, her head resting against his chest. "Daddy, do you think we'll come here again?" she asked. "Yes, baby," he said softly. "We'll come again. We have friends now, a family." Ethan realized that Christmas night had already changed his life. He had saved two girls in the storm, unknowingly intertwined with their father, a man whose presence brought a confusing mix of respect, attraction, and a strange comfort. Outside, the storm had ended. The world was silent except for the gentle hum of city lights. But inside, Ethan's heart raced, alive with possibility, hope, and an attraction that promised more than he could yet imagine. The night was far from over, and he knew this Christmas had more surprises in store, lessons about love, desire, and the unexpected ways kindness could ripple into lives far beyond his own. The next week passed in a blur. Ethan juggled double shifts, preparing for the impending custody hearing, while Alice counted down the days until their next visit with Sophie Maya and their father. Each evening, he read her stories, tucked her in, kissed her forehead, and tried to push the stormy tension of the previous week out of his mind. Yet, he couldn't shake the image of Benjamin's intense gaze, the quiet magnetism in his voice. Saturday arrived. Ethan dressed carefully, Alice in her festive dress, her curls bouncing as they entered the Whitmore residence. The twins greeted them with hugs. Excited chatter filling the house. Benjamin appeared at the top of the stairs, and Ethan's heart thumped stronger, faster. Alive in a way he hadn't felt for years. The attraction was undeniable now, the energy between them electric, but contained by mutual respect and circumstance. Inside, the dinner table was festive, glowing with candlelight and laughter. Alice found herself immersed in games with the twins, squealing with delight. Ethan and Benjamin exchanged glances, subtle, knowing, intimate in a way that needed no words. The room felt charged with possibilities. Later, as the children played in another room, Benjamin and Ethan stepped onto the patio. The winter air was crisp, carrying the faint scent of pine and distant snow. Silence stretched comfortably before Benjamin. "Broke it. You've done everything for her," he said softly, looking out over the city lights. "I can see how much you care." Ethan's chest tightened. "I have to. She's all I've got." Benjamin turned, eyes meeting his, "And yet, somehow, you've found room in your heart for others, for my daughters, for strangers. That's rare." Ethan swallowed hard, feeling the tension rise. It's just, when someone needs help, you can't always look away. I've learned that." Benjamin took a step closer. The air between them seemed to crackle. "You've taught me something, too," he murmured, "about being present, about noticing what really matters." Ethan felt a warmth spreading through him, a shiver of anticipation. The connection was undeniable, a mix of admiration, desire, and shared vulnerability. The world had narrowed to the space between them, the hum of the city below fading into nothing. But there was work to do. The custody hearing loomed in 3 days. Ethan reminded himself to focus, to channel every ounce of energy into ensuring Alice stayed with him. Yet, the memory of the previous night, the brush of hands, the look of Benjamin's eyes stayed, an electric pulse he couldn't ignore. The morning of the hearing, Ethan drove Alice to school, heart heavy but determined. His mind replayed every conversation, every act of kindness he'd shown, and every late-night sacrifice he'd made. He had prepared, but the uncertainty gnawed at him. Could he convince the court that love outweighed financial struggle, that being present mattered more than bank statements? The courtroom was cold, intimidating. Ethan's public defender, Mr. Clark, gave him a reassuring nod. Lena Cole, his ex-wife, sat across the aisle, composed but with an edge of desperation in her eyes. Her lawyer looked sharp, predatory, ready to exploit any weakness. The bailiff called the court to order. Judge Whitmore entered, and Ethan's heart skipped a beat. The man who had seen his kindness, who had witnessed his humanity, now presided over Alice's future. Recognition passed silently between them, electric and unspoken. "Before we begin," Judge Whitmore said, "I'd like to call for a brief recess." 15 minutes. Ethan froze. "A recess?" he whispered to Murdoch Clark. The judge's voice was calm, measured. "Mr. Cole, please come with me to my chambers." Walking down the narrow hallway, Ethan's mind raced. Was this good, bad? Would the judge recuse himself? Or was this an unexpected chance to prove his worth? Inside the chambers, Benjamin gestured to a chair. "Sit, Mr. Cole." Ethan's legs felt like jelly as he obeyed. The room was warm, wood-panelled, filled with the faint scent of old books and leather. Benjamin's presence was commanding yet gentle, a magnetic pull that made Ethan acutely aware of his own heartbeat. 3 nights ago, Benjamin began, voice low. "You stopped in a storm to help my daughters. You could have driven past, but you didn't." Ethan nodded, voice caught. I did what anyone would do." "No," Benjamin said firmly. "Not anyone. You risked yourself when you were already exhausted, when you had every reason not to stop. That's the kind of person I respect. admire. His eyes lingered on Ethan, a flicker of something deeper, passing between them. Desire, yes, but also trust, recognition, the bond of shared humanity. Ethan swallowed hard. Thank you, sir. I just want what's best for Alice. Benjamin's gaze softened. And that's exactly why you'll have it. I've reviewed your file, checked on your efforts, your presence, your sacrifices. The evidence is clear. Alice is safe, loved, and nurtured with you. Your ex-wife, she's not fit. And that includes the concealed issues she tried to hide. Ethan felt tears prick at the corner of his eyes. Relief, gratitude, and an unspoken ache for Benjamin's nearness all collided. I don't know what to say. Benjamin leaned back, folding his hands. You don't need to say anything. The facts speak for themselves. But I also wanted to acknowledge something else. What you showed. That night, the courage. The empathy that tells me about your character in ways documents never could. That's the kind of father Alice deserves. The words struck deep. Ethan felt a swell of pride and emotion, and yet the tension between them remained, charged, unspoken, a thread of desire woven into the warmth of recognition and respect. Returning to the courtroom, Ethan felt a strange calm. He had already won, not just legally, but morally, emotionally. His actions, his heart, had been noticed and validated. Lena's lawyer tried to object, but the evidence was irrefutable. The verdict was announced. Full custody granted to Ethan Cole. Alice ran to him, tears streaming. Daddy, I'm staying with you. He hugged her, holding her tightly. Forever, baby, forever. The storm of fear and uncertainty lifted, replaced by joy and relief. And yet, Ethan's mind drifted once more to Benjamin, the way his voice had softened, the weight of his gaze, the electricity of their shared moment. He realized that Christmas had given him not just victory, but the possibility of connection, of something deeply human, sensual, and profound. Later, at the Whitmore home, the two families gathered. Laughter, warmth, and gentle teasing filled the air. Benjamin and Ethan shared quiet moments on the patio, the air between them charged, yet respectful, full of unspoken promises. The night was alive with potential, possibility, and desire tempered by love and shared purpose. Alice fell asleep in Ethan's arms that night, safe, happy, and loved. Ethan's thoughts wandered to the path that had led him here, the storm, the strangers, the small act of kindness that had changed everything. And in the quiet, he felt the pull of something more, an attraction, an admiration, a bond that promised connection beyond the unexpected events of Christmas night. He kissed Alice's forehead, whispered softly, "We did it, baby. We're together, safe." And for the first time in months, Ethan felt truly alive, ready to embrace not just his daughter, but the possibilities that life and perhaps Benjamin had to offer. Sometimes, one small choice changes everything. One act of kindness, one moment of courage, one step into the unknown. Ethan had learned that, and he would never forget it. The night ended with a quiet sense of wonder, a lingering tension that was both thrilling and comforting. Christmas had delivered more than gifts. It had delivered connection, love, hope, and a reminder that showing up, fighting for what matters, and opening your heart could change your life in ways you never expected. So, if you're watching this right now, wherever you are in the world, remember this. Kindness matters. Showing up matters. Fighting for the people you love matters. You never know when one small decision, one moment of choosing to help instead of walking away, might change everything. If this story touched your heart, do us a favor. Hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Hidden Truths for more tales that remind us what it means to be human. Drop a comment and let us know. Have you ever had a small act of kindness change your life? We'd love to hear your stories. Until next time, keep showing up, keep being kind, keep fighting for what matters.